Hello, I'm Daniel, and I'm with Cast 98. And today I'm going to show you the schedule builder. Cast 98, if you don't know, is a website, really, that provides online tools for theater directors, community theater directors specifically. Our purpose, our goal is to make scheduling large casts easy for small budget theaters. And so with the schedule builder, this is a new schedule builder. We've just renovated it from our old version. And so hopefully you'll find the layout a little bit more intuitive, a little bit more helpful, and a little bit more streamlined. So when you load the schedule builder, this is what you see, although I guess really you're going to see it empty like this with no attendees selected. And so I'm going to walk you through the features real quick. On the left hand, far left panel, you see 4 tabs. Each of these tabs corresponds to kind of the phases of scheduling and rehearsal. So the first one is this pull-out panel that you see called Select Attendees. And when you click it, you simply see all your cast members, all of your crew members, and all of the rehearsal groups that you've set up. So if you're not familiar with rehearsal groups, they're simply a collection of cast members and crew members that you predefine. And so, for example, I have Nick Fury, the Hulk, Captain America, Thor. This is Avengers the Musical. This is our dummy show that we set up so that new directors have a place, a little playground where they can try out our features before they buy into it. And so if you go to cast98.com/demo, you can opt in to the director's demo and you will become a director, a full-fledged director of Avengers the Musical. So you can come and play with the schedule builder all you want. But going back to what I was talking about, the rehearsal groups just make it easy. So if I select the Avengers, you see I've predefined this to pick out the Hulk, Captain America, Thor, Doctor Strange, Star-Lord, and Black Panther. And so if you have a ballroom, a group of ballroom dancers, maybe 18 or 20 of those, instead of selecting each person individually, you can just select, you can put them all into a group, and it makes selecting them for rehearsals very, very easy. So that's the groups. The cast members are pretty self-explanatory. This is in your cast list, and your crew members are the same thing. It's your crew members that you have defined in your cast and crew list. Okay, so that's the first tab. The second tab is what we call the conflicts matrix. And so that's where you see everybody that you've selected as an attendee for your rehearsal. You see all of their conflicts here on the conflict matrix. And so this happens automatically from the audition form that these folks have submitted. We pull all of their conflicts in automatically so that you can get right into scheduling as soon as auditions are finished. If someone has a late conflict that they submit, they have to tell you, the director, they have to tell you as the director that they have submitted some late conflicts, and you have the opportunity to resync their conflict calendar so that you see those new conflicts in the schedule builder. You don't have to do that. We leave that up to you to approve or reject late conflicts, and you can do all that in the auditionee dashboard, okay? And that's where you can pull up all the audition forms that have been submitted. Okay, so a little bit about the conflict matrix. On the left side, you see the dates. Beside that, you see some red tick marks. Whoever you have selected, if they have a conflict on a day, there's a red tick mark for that. And so you can quickly visually see what days are the best days to put a rehearsal because they have the fewest conflicts, right? And so as you're thinking about scheduling a rehearsal, your first step is to figure out who needs to come. Who are my attendees? You select those attendees, and then you can pick out the perfect day to put a rehearsal down. Okay, on the matrix itself, you see each person has an entire column. Some people have more conflicts than others. But across the top here, you see these chat bubbles. If you hover over that, you get what we call a general conflicts note. And this is where a mom can put in that her son's soccer schedule has yet to be released. It's coming out on Saturday. And so she'll know a little bit more about the schedule then, or someone that's an adult, maybe they have a work schedule that is difficult to work around, or they're coming in from out of town every day because they live 30 minutes away, and so they're not available until 6 o'clock, things like that. Instead of marking every single day as a conflict, they can leave a general note so that you as the director can just kind of file that away in your brain. In the matrix itself, you see 2 different kinds of icons. You see an X, and that indicates that the actor has marked that day as a conflict, and they have not given any indication as to a specific time within that day that they have a conflict. They just crossed off the entire day. If you see an exclamation point, this is where an actor has left a note. You see, this actor wasn't very verbose with his note, but he says 7 to 10 p.m. on May 13th. So you can safely assume that if you schedule a rehearsal outside of 7 to 10 p.m., then this actor would be available. Okay, so with that information, you can then go to the third tab, which is the Edit Rehearsal tab. And you see I was already working on one before I started this video, and it's called Evil Laugh Workshop. Let me refresh the page real quick just so that you can see everything fresh here. All right, so it takes the builder a sec to load all of those audition forms and all the conflicts, get those synced up. And then, like I said, here it is, completely blank. If I select all my cast, get those folks back up there. All right, so we are ready now to put a rehearsal on the schedule. And so if I select a day from our choices here, May 25th looks pretty good. It has no conflicts. We can add a title to the rehearsal. You see that when I clicked on May 25th from the matrix, it already filled out that information. I can give it a start time and an optional end time. I can also optionally leave any notes. So these are pre-rehearsal notes. If you want to say, make sure you bring the right kind of shoes, or bring your cast fee, or remember to be off book, you can leave any kind of note there. If this is a tech week rehearsal, you probably want to say something like, make sure you arrive with your hair already ready, or make sure your makeup is on when you arrive, things like that. The rehearsal venue is something you can set by default within your show settings, so that you don't have to worry about resetting the venue. But of course, Tech Week is probably in the show venue, not your rehearsal venue. So in that case, you can just select the dropdown and select your the correct venue for this particular rehearsal, and then save rehearsal. Let me give this a title. We'll go ahead and say this is Tech Week. You can see I've been putting a lot of Tech Week rehearsals on the schedule, and I'm going to save it. Okay, so you see now success, Tech Week saved. And also you might have noticed that the day is now cleared. We do that so that you do not accidentally duplicate a rehearsal. If we left the day there, you could just click save rehearsal over and over and over, and you might not really intend to do that. But also you'll notice that right here within the rehearsal form, and this is one of the upgrades I was talking about that we made, not only can you see your attendees panel here next to the rehearsal schedule or the rehearsal form? You can toggle this on and off, but also you see the red tick marks next to the names that you've selected. Those are the folks that have conflicts on the day you've selected. So in this case, it's just a general July date, but if I select an actual day, the 13th, you see no one has a conflict on the 13th. Awesome. The 14th, there's one conflict among the 18 people that we have selected. You can look over here, you see the red tick mark by Lenny Manuel, and so he has a conflict on that day. So you can kind of see everything at a glance, whereas previously we had the attendees at the top and the matrix in the middle and the form at the bottom, and so you were always scrolling up and down the page. Now you don't have to do that. You can look at everything at a glance, as it were. So really, really helpful there. When I save the rehearsal, you see that you get the confirmation message there, and you're ready to go. The fourth tab is the rehearsal schedule tab. So these are rehearsals that you already have on your schedule, and you can click to edit these rehearsals at any time. So, for example, if I was looking at this added rehearsal for the SFX, if I click on the people icon, you can see who the attendees are. And if I click on the pencil icon, I can edit this rehearsal. As you see here, the attendees, if it is me as a logged in user, you see my name is highlighted in yellow. And then we've been adding so many rehearsals where no one has conflicts, because that's what you should be doing. Let's see if I can find one where someone does actually have conflicts. Here's one. Okay, so birthday party for the leads on June 4th. You see there are two people. You can tell that they have conflicts because their names are in red and they are crossed out. So really helpful there. If you're on site, if you're wondering where Kristen is, why she's not at rehearsal, you or anyone else can pull up the rehearsal schedule, and while your other cast members cannot see what her conflict is, they can see on the schedule that she has a conflict, and they can remind you that she has a conflict, and that's why she's not there. So really helpful. If you click on the pencil icon, it will take you to the rehearsal form, and you might not have noticed, but in the attendees panel, it selected all of the attendees for this rehearsal. So now instead of having the 18 attendees that I did have selected, I only have the 11 selected who are currently set to be attendees to this rehearsal. So at this point, I can add Gavin, I can take off Steve and Steven and Holly, and maybe these are the people I now have wanted to come to this rehearsal. So I can just save that, and voila, it's saved. If we scroll all the way down under the upcoming tab, you're going to see the new Tech Week rehearsals that I just added. They do not fall into place for the date, but when you add them for the very first time, they are added to the bottom of the schedule. I don't think I mentioned this, but the clipboard icon also shows you the note if you left a note on the rehearsal. And so that's really handy if you come back up to the top and you go to the past tab. Anything with a note, if you are getting kicked out of your venue and it's 10 o'clock at night, and you're running late, you can tell your cast, just go home. We will post rehearsal notes, especially during Tech Week. We'll post notes to the website or to the rehearsal or to Cast 98, whatever you want to tell them. And then they can come to the schedule on their own time the next day and look for those notes. You can alternatively just email them out to the cast. That's what my directors do as well. If you're looking at the rehearsal schedule proper and not within the context of the schedule builder, there's a few different features. You see that my name is highlighted because I'm logged in. If I were looking at the rehearsal schedule, the regular schedule and not within the context of the builder, each of these rehearsals that I am set as an attendee, they would be highlighted in yellow as well so that I can quickly see which ones are mine. Also, I would have a third tab up here at the top that says just mine, and I can filter the rehearsal schedule so that I only see my rehearsals. We also give your actors the ability to export rehearsals with the touch of a button from the rehearsal schedule, but you don't see that here either in the schedule builder. So yeah, you can add many rehearsals. You can add 100 rehearsals probably within just 3 or 4 hours, maybe even less, depending on how efficient you get with using our schedule builder. I think once you get past the learning curve, it's definitely within reason that you might only spend 2 hours on scheduling a full run of rehearsals, because we've made it so easy and we've automated the conflict syncing. And so you don't have to worry about spreadsheets. You don't have to worry about paper forms anymore. We do all the heavy loading from audition forms all the way through schedule building. So you can subscribe to us on YouTube. We post tutorials like this pretty regularly, and other helpful tips and discussions happen as well on YouTube. We live stream fairly regularly. Also, just as a reminder, cast98.com/demo is where you can sign up to try out all of the great tools that we have for directors before you actually buy into it. So definitely check that out, and we will see you later.